I'm going to call the June 8, 2026 Canyon Regional Board meeting to order. I will start with the board roll call. Donetta Roberts, Ted Gibbs, no Martin Poor, no Gary Gilbert, Fernando Gonzalez, Phil Carr.
Here.
Is that how I say your last name, sir? Carr? Okay, thank you. Humberto Ramos, Tracy Shield, Andrea Velasquez,
Here.
Mike Saldana,
Here.
Mark Davis.
Here.
I am here. Mark Gilbert.
Here.
Stephanie Gonzalez. Sherry McDaniel.
Here.
Nick Sherman.
Here.
Dan Hebner.
Here.
Jim Forsell. Doris Stubing. Mabel Vaughn. Keith Steffen.
Here.
Thank you. We have a quorum. And now we will move on to the invocation. Mark, if you please give the invocation.
Bow your heads, please. Father, we praise you, your mighty name, and we thank you for all the blessings you've bestowed upon us. We ask you to be with the sick, be with those traveling, and watch over us and guide us. Forgive us of our sins. And at this time, we'd like you to ask your blessings upon this meeting. May we do everything in accordance with your will and the laws of the land. Hopefully we come out of this as one in agreement. We thank you. Bless us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, now the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 4, oath and statement of office of new trustees. We had 3 trustees that were here that weren't here last month. I did their oath of office before the meeting, so we won't need to do it during this period. We'll move on to item 5, announcements. Board of Trustees of CRWA may during the meeting close the meeting and hold an executive session pursuant to and in accordance with Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. The Board of Trustees may at any time during the meeting close the meeting and hold an executive session for consultation with its attorneys concerning any of the matters to be considered during the meeting pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. Our other announcement is that the appointments for the CRWA Board of Trustees were due May 1st, 2026. Any positions that have not been filled remain vacant. I believe the only one we have remaining is Springs Hill, and I think they've actually taken care of that. He just was unavailable for today. So I think we've got all our positions filled. I'll ask staff to go ahead and take this item off the agenda for next month. Item 6, public comment. Item 6A, comments on non-agenda items. No discussion from the Board of Trustees. 3-minute time limit per citizen. That time may not be shared or ceded to another citizen. Are there any public comments on non-agenda items? Okay. Item 6B, comments on agenda-specific items. Discussion from with the Board of Trustees may be allowed. 3-minute time limit per citizen. This time may not be shared or ceded to another citizen. Are there any public comments on agenda-specific items? Okay. Item 7, consent items. Our first item is Resolution 2606001, approval of the minutes for our May 8th meeting, and Resolution 2606002, approving the financial reports and check registers for the month of April.
Make a motion to approve 260601 and 260602.
Second.
So we have a motion and second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Item 8, reports. We'll start with the general manager's report.
Good evening. Not a whole lot to report here, but some important stuff. Start with administrative. Chelsea Hawkins did resign from Canyon Regional. She accepted an offer to go back into environmental law practice. She actually is right up the street at MBE, working with their legal department. So we are sorry to see her go. You know, she did a lot of great work for us. She was invited to attend this board meeting by one of the board members. However, she had a prior family commitment, so she wasn't able to attend this month. She would probably, if anybody would like for her to, I'm sure she would be willing to come back next month. We are in negotiations with the firm that was selected by the committee to serve as owner's representative for the Bloomberg project. We are looking to bring an item to the board next month to get approval to execute a contract with that owner's rep. And then we have a consensus meeting this Thursday to arrive to a recommendation for a firm to develop operational master plan for all facilities. We'll also be seeking approval to execute a contract at the July 13th board meeting for that. Any questions on administrative?
Just want to clarify, when you say all, you mean all with Hayes Caldwell as well, right?
That is correct. Yes,
I
sir.
think the last master plan didn't do a great job of that. I think
Yeah.
that's a fair statement to
Yeah,
say.
that is correct.
It didn't even have it.
The
Yes, sir.
master plan didn't even have Hayes Caldwell.
Speaking of Hayes Caldwell, so we did execute a design task order for the self-cleaning intake structure. The intake structure is still getting the water, but right now it clogs up real badly. And so this will help take a lot of effort off of the operators in keeping that clean. They should be ready to bid that out in 6 to 8 weeks so that we can get that moving. However, the cost of that we will have to plug into the budget for 2027. Right now, the estimated cost is set at $750,000 to $1 million for that. So Wells Ranch, we also have executed a task order for design to do an assessment. The raw water tank, you'll recall the foundation on that was cracking and was leaking. And that tank is old enough that rather than just focus on that one problem, we wanted to get a full-blown assessment of the tank and fix everything while we're in there. That's also an item that we will look to include money in the 2027 budget for those repairs.
Is there a rough opinion of probable cost on that one?
Not at this time. They haven't gone in there and done the assessment yet. So once they, get that study done, we should be able to get a high level cost estimate right off the bat. Also on Wells Ranch, communications are ongoing between Canyon Regional and the residents along High Point Ridge regarding maintenance of that road. They are still of the opinion that Canyon Regional and our associated vendors, contractors are responsible for 100% of the wear and tear on that road. And they expect us to, handle 100% of the maintenance on that road. We disagree. And in fact, in looking at the various agreements surrounding that whole area, responsibility for that road is actually on a developer that developed those lots there. We have communicated that to the residents, and they are not accepting of that. So at this point, we're kind of at a stalemate. Our last communication was with them, letting them know what our position was. We're still willing to, contribute and do, some maintenance on the road. We're just not willing to go as far as they're wanting us to go. Essentially, they want us to repave this road. And that cost is just too great, and it shouldn't be borne by Canyon Regional alone at all. So more to come on that, I'm sure. But right now, we're not budging. They're copying county commissioners, firemen, what have you, to try and put political pressure on us. But we just can't bear those costs. Alliance Regional, the coordination is ongoing with GBRA and legal counsel regarding the design deficiencies in the original plant. What I wanted to bring to the forefront of everybody's minds is we're moving further along with the CMAR in the plant expansion. And The engineer's cost estimate for that plant expansion was a little over $154 million. The latest cost model from the CMAR is about $265 million, considerably more. That delta isn't all, alliances to bear. A lot of it is GBRA. However, even taking that into consideration, if those costs hold, that's a huge increase in cost for Canyon Regional's member entities. There's a lot of concern over that big of a spread, and most of these cost estimates are either a class 2 or a class 1 estimate, which means it should be fairly precise and not have a lot of fluff in it. So there's some more discussion on that, but there's just a lot of concern with that increased cost and how that's going to be.
May I add just a little bit of additional information? So I've been very, very engaged with the CMAR discussion. One of the things that I was able to learn in the technical committee was that my understanding of a construction manager at risk project is you get a guaranteed maximum price, singular, one number. The way this is being crafted is actually being delivered in 5 guaranteed maximum price packages. Based on my protest, 4 of the prices are going to be received at the same time and then put together into 2 packages. So, okay, I can kind of see that working together. The 5th package, the solids handling and the dewatering package, is not yet designed yet. So we have no idea what, we have guesstimates and, the numbers that they've put in their total figure for that, but we don't have cost certainty, which is one of the main reasons you go with a CMAR. I've been pretty vocal in the full board meetings and the technical committee that I don't like that. I don't think that's the product we were sold when we went with CMAR. And I have real reservations about the value in the total cost we're getting. Like Mr. Everett said, the original estimate done by Kimley Horn was $155 million for the total package, and the current estimate is $265 million. That's a huge cost swing. I know at Green Valley, we want to see the bids and then evaluate it at the board level at our home entity, and then give me direction up the line on what to do at the ARWA meetings. I don't know how the other SUDs that are involved in the project are going to handle it, but that's our opinion and that's how we're going to handle it.
So Canyon Regional puts trustees on the Alliance Regional Water Authority Board, and typically we do that based on the 3 member entities, the 3 SUDs that are part of Alliance. Who are our 3 representatives? So everyone here knows, because we have new trustees. And then Carrie, you're our representative from Canyon Regional. Mm-hmm. So typically 1 from Canyon Regional, 1 from each of the 3 SUDs that participate. What do y'all need from us on a board level? Is there anything y'all need from us? Do y'all get together and have some quick discussions before meetings or kind of get coordinated on any of this? Is there a way we can help facilitate that?
I think
necessary.
I think Nick's done a great job, getting into the weeds of things and asking for some clarification, to the point where, I feel comfortable saying I've jumped on his coattails and letting him ride this one. And I'm just there to help support and ask those questions as well. It's not an easy conversation when Graham's going to come and potentially ask for $75 million more. So it is pretty frustrating, to say the least. And I think there's a lot of questions that still need to be answered before everyone agrees to that. And when I say everyone, I think even you looking at the city of Kyle, Buda and all the other entities that are involved on the other side outside of CRWA.
And for me, it's the same. Nick's been doing a really good job of voicing, and so kind of letting him speak for us all at this point. Yes.
And to answer your question, I don't think we really need anything. We do have, we chat, not officially, we discuss what our opinions are. No one has any doubt what my opinion is, on the project over there. They're going to gonna have to convince me because at this point I'm not sure about it. I did receive an email today that there is a meeting on the 21st of July, which we will have the actual hard numbers. And they want to host a all-day meeting at Pape Dawson's office to explain to us how it's a great idea to move forward with this, is what my guess is. So we should have some real numbers towards the end of July, 4/5 of the real number. So we'll see how that shakes out, but I'm not going to be rushed into a vote. The three SUDs that are funding, our portion of a tremendous project that has had cost overruns and some issues with design in the past. I'm not going to be eager to rush headlong into something of such scale.
And I think as far as from the CRWA trustee perspective is just patience maybe while we dig into these things, because the funding is for everyone here as far as the budget goes, and our budget being dictated by ARWA, or CRWA's presentation being dictated by ARWA isn't going to make it maybe as easy for Brian and Joan to provide that percentage increase feedback based off of if there is any borrowing or not. So I think just patience and hopes, prayers, maybe, all that good stuff.
Okay. We, historically have been real light on ARWA reporting, but I think it probably, as we get closer and closer to this funding, we probably need some good reports. So we're on the same page with you. So when it comes time to when someone comes and asks for money, we know where are we on this? Because we're going to, ultimately rely on y'all. 33% of this is Keenan Regions, which is Green Valley, County Line, and
we can, Graham Moore is willing to come, I'm sure, to our meetings. I've told him he's got to run through the shooting gallery at Green Valley, asking for more money. We've got a couple directors that are not terribly pleased with how the ARWA process has gone overall. So he understands that he needs to make these rounds. I'm sure he would come. I'm surprised he's not here tonight, honestly. But we can start to ask him to start attending these meetings, because we don't have a whole long duration. Probably next month will be the one before he's looking for an approval motion. And like I said, I've been pretty clear I'm not going to be rushed. If we need to table it for a month to give all of the, I'm saying this out loud because I want to make sure that you guys know what we're doing. And hey, I'm going to take some time and review this with my board and make sure that you guys, if you think it's appropriate, have time to do the same. And I'm going to say it, often and loud at the technical committee next week and the next ARWA meeting, that these cities, their councils probably want to take a look at it too. That's an awful lot of decision-making to fall on one appointed person that may or may not be an elected official, to pull the trigger on. So, anyway, it's just a big number, and I'm jumping on Carrie's report here, but I wanted to add a little bit of additional detail.
Yeah, and that's where it's important for us to know, because we need to know where y'all stand. Because in all reality, you're the ones footing the bill, and so that's what we're going to want to know. So when we make a decision on a board level, we know what it is that your group wants to do. So I'm glad to hear y'all are communicating well, and glad to hear you don't need anything from us yet until this vote comes up.
Unless y'all want to help with some of your extra pennies to convey our way, but I think we're okay right now. I think we've got a good working understanding of what we're thinking moving forward.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Continue.
Sheet. Lost my sheet. Brandon.
It's right here.
Golly. Just some calendar items. We did get all three permits at the last, we had a permit application hearing on May 14th. We were asking to increase the capacity on well 2 to drill well 10 at the Wells Ranch facility, and then also to permit all of our remaining leased water is approximately 850 acre feet additional. All three of those permits were approved. On the 26th, we did have the meeting with the Hayes Caldwell members to discuss potentially acquiring an additional mobile membrane unit. That's actually an agenda in general business item. In the general business, we have an item there. Had the last Arbor Board meeting on the 27th. On the 6th, this past Saturday, I attended a public workshop with the Gonzales Groundwater District to review proposed rule changes. And the one that we really need to be aware of is they are proposing to reduce the amount of groundwater available from 1 acre foot per acre to 1/2 acre foot per acre. And if that rule gets adopted, what that means for us is that, so our leases are based on volume and not land. And so potentially that means that we have to go out and permit twice as many acre feet of leases. So if they cut it to 1/2, we have, if they cut it to 1/2, we have enough water leased that we could, start pursuing permitting for that to make it up. That also means that there's, the lessors that we currently make payments to, that means that their payments cut in half. I mean, there's an impact there. A phrase I learned from our legal counsel is investment-backed expectations. So that could impact our bonding. And then, just the landowners themselves losing the income. So that's something we're really going to be paying attention to. There's no science backing this proposed rule change whatsoever. It's just something they've proposed. In my opinion, it's under, continued constant pressure from the public against exporters is one of the reasons they're wanting to make this move. But if they do make that change, it's really going to impact us. We've been talking about potentially, looking at different scenarios where we might, let some of the leases go that we have for Carrizo water. That will reduce significantly the amount that we would be able to if they make that change. So we'll keep you informed as there's new news on that. But so far, not looking too good. And
Terry, I have a quick update, if I may.
Yes, sir.
About twice a year, Texas Real Estate Commission add new forms and new processes to the real estate market. One of the changes that they're making that's going to be coming up in July is a new seller's disclosure for groundwater. It's a seller's disclosure about groundwater and surface rights. So whenever somebody buys a property, they'll be required to fill out these forms, and then we'll know if there's a permitted well or what there is. It's not going to solve all the problem because there's ways around it, but it is coming up, and hopefully it'll help a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Other questions for Carrie? Okay.
I don't know if we have any other staff updates on this meeting.
So we're moving on to committee and board of managers updates.
Yes, sir.
Okay, item 8C, committee and board of managers updates. Let's start with budget committee because you're easy. Budget committee. Meetings.
So our next meeting is going to be on the 16th,
Yes.
10:30 a.m. to discuss the first draft of the budget. The agenda should already be out.
Thank you. Board of managers.
Okay, good evening, everybody. First of all, I apologize. I did not get a memo in the packet this time. I had some Green Valley business. See and did it done, so it was what it was. But I'll give you just a verbal rundown of the meeting. Good attendance this time. We had quite a healthy discussion on the status of Wells Ranch wells, particularly well 2, well 14, and well 1, and what the status of those things are. I think we figured out, I believe, between the construction committee and the board managers meeting, that I don't think we were communicating very clearly exactly, what the issues are with the Wells Ranch wells. I think we got it figured out now. My understanding now is that the well 2 is complete. It's, it can be pumped. I mean, it can be turned on and all that, except the permit is not quite, approved yet by TCQ. Well 14 has some electrical work to be finished. And well 1, the report we got last week, is they're making progress on it. And I can't read my writing, but it still needs to have power and electrical done for well 1. I mean, so that's where we are. So what does it mean, right? And that's what we were trying to get to, what it means. The staff did tell us that there's 2 other wells having problems, well 5 with some sort of vibration and well 7 with some low flow. So why am I telling you this? I mean, we need to pay attention to the raw water supply going into Wells Ranch, obviously. And so the board of managers is making an effort to make sure we do that and try to figure out, what are the impacts to everyone's system that's affected by Wells Ranch. Now, granted, not everyone in this room is affected by Wells Ranch. We understand that. So we're paying attention to the other ones as well. So we had a healthy discussion on that. You do have some change orders in the packet tonight. We did go through those, except those are really in the purview of the construction committee. So we're not making any recommendations. There's already a committee that does that for us. And then we spent, a considerable time, we wanted to spend some time talking about the project status that this board approved a couple of months ago. So we didn't have the list, but Carrie sent the list today. We'll have it in future board of managers meetings. And just perusing the list, at Lake Dunlap, we have a total of 8 projects. 2 of those have had progress made on them. I'm not going to bore you with the details of which 2 they are. Hayes Caldwell, there's 3 projects. 2 of them have progress made on them. Wells Ranch, there was 4 projects. 1 is complete, 1's in progress, and the other 2 are still working. Now, I mean, clearly, I'd like to provide you more details than that, but I just wanted to give you a summary of the list that I received from the staff today. And so I think that's pretty much the highlights. Again, I apologize for not getting a memo in the packet. But I want to make one comment about the ARWA, and just as ARWA, as you look at it, is this board. So essentially, in our previous discussion, ARWA is a strange animal, right? I mean, this board does vote and does take action, but the 3 entities that are in it within this board are the ones that are funding these projects, right? And I think, just to reiterate, they have coordinated with Green Valley on the 18th. I think Mr. Sherman said that. To come down to Green Valley, we're going to allow them to use our facility. So if any of you all would like to hear, what's going on with that project, you can. But that's on the 18th of June from 11 to 1 o'clock.
So I
Yes,
did
sir.
not mention that. There is going to be another meeting to discuss how great the CMAR process is and what, move forward. They were looking for a venue. Carrie, they were actually going to try to be up here. And I said, hey, come on down to our house. We'll happily host you. Phil moved some things around to where we're going to be there, available for them. So that is on the 18th.
It's on the 18th at 11 to 1.
Anybody that is interested in just hearing about our problematic projects, you're welcome to join us. Umberto, Michiel, sure you guys will be there as well, but yeah, we'll be hosting on the 18th.
Yeah. And then pending anyone's question, I just wanted to put that meeting date up there. Okay. Thanks, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
11 to 1. Questions for board of managers? Okay. Litigation committee, obviously, we went to mediation. We can talk about that in executive session later. Legislative Affairs Committee might be a little bit of a pause while we navigate who staff's going to put up for the committee, because Chelsea's not here and she was running point on it. So it might be a little bit longer before we meet.
So we were scheduled to have a meeting tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sorry. Apologies. I need to look at my Canyon Regional email, I guess.
So we're not going to be doing that.
No, I'm sorry. I was not aware. We're going to be doing it. I just didn't know. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you for correcting me. Never mind. We're meeting very quickly tomorrow. Thank you very much. Sorry for missing that. The construction committee, Nick.
I also did not get a memo in the packet. I saw an email where staff was pestering me, but I didn't see the email until after the deadline they gave me. So I apologize about that. Biggest discussion in the construction committee was on the proposed change orders. Some of them, the construction committee agreed and made recommendation for approval. Some of them we had some more questions on, so we'll, get some more answers on those here later in the meeting.
Questions for the construction committee? Okay, we'll move on to item 9, general business. Item 9A, discuss, consider, and take possible action on resolution 2606-003, approving the execution of an agreement with Paul Corporation to lease an additional mobile membrane unit. This is the agenda item that I had discussed last month at the meeting related to the Hayes Caldwell membrane. So I'll turn it over to staff.
So we did have the meeting late in May, following up to discuss with the Hayes Caldwell members. You're all aware of the issues we're facing with the Coke filters right now. Right now, we only have one bank that's working. And then we have one Paul trailer that was leased and one that was purchased. Because of concerns over imminent failure of the remaining Coke membranes, staff is recommending that we bring a third mobile unit on site. Paul does have one available for lease. The cost is approximately, I think it was $34,000. It's just under $40,000 a month. The cost is in the packet. That would be an additional 80 membrane unit. With the two 80 membrane units and then the 196 membrane unit, we would be able to treat the daily and the peak flow for all the member entities. I'm sorry. With all three units, we would be able to treat the daily and the peak flow for all the member entities. If we do that, then that allows us to, reliably treat that water while we're coming up with the final solution for replacing the Coke filters. It'll give us some flexibility. There was a design done for replacement of those filters that we could either look at reviving that and move forward with that design, or if we wanted to look at an option of starting over on the design, we might be able to avoid the cost of a new building and use the existing building for the new membranes. So at the last meeting that we had, there was not everybody agreed to move forward with an additional mobile unit. I believe County Line had some concerns on moving forward with that, but right now that is the staff recommendation. Now to get us through this year on the costs, we thought one possibility we could look at was there are still some surplus funds from 2025. Plus there's some unused funds from the 2026 repair and replacement that we might be able to apply to that.
One other additional source of funds, real quick, that I was talking to Doris and Mabel about before the meeting started. The litigation with the city of San Marcos is closed out. So if staff could take a look and see how much money we're collecting from the member entities for litigation at Hayes Caldwell that we may not need to spend, and maybe give us a kind of comfortable number with amending the budget where either this item can be put there or at least some money can be returned back to the Hayes Caldwell group to offset some of those costs.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ready for motion?
Sure.
Motion to approve item resolution 2606-003.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the resolution. Do we have a second? We have a second from Mr. Gilbert. Is there any other discussion on this item?
I'd like to discuss
Yes, sir.
County Line's viewpoint. So please bear with me. I appreciate the fact that Green Valley's watching out what's happening at the Alliance, right? Cost overruns. We're experiencing the same thing here with Hayes Caldwell. There's cost overruns, there's no plan, and so that's very alarming to County Line. And so let me just give you a little bit of history. So 2024, I believe, there was a plan that was submitted to the Water Development Board, SWIFT funding, defund, in which we talked about receiving $18 million. San Marcos decided they didn't want to move forward with that option. We decided not to move forward with that option because it didn't make sense. We didn't have a plan. I was told there was a plan for $18 million for membrane. Once staff was told that we don't want to move forward, my expectation was for staff, and Mr. Everett was here at that time, to develop a plan. A plan includes financing. A plan includes what's the next step, a roadmap to where we're going to get. And we've never received that. If you recall last year, we were asked, should we buy or should we lease a trailer? There was never an indication of getting a third trailer, right? We were told, can we buy or can we lease? We all agreed to buy. Shortly thereafter, we're told again that we need another trailer. This is not a plan. We've got to stop doing things like this at Canyon Regional. I do appreciate what the Board of Managers is doing with Phil. Phil is trying to get plans. We need plans because I'm responsible for my customers, right? I'm responsible for the fiduciary responsibilities for my rates. I'm responsible for making sure I make good decisions, just as y'all do at Green Valley. And so I will be voting no on this, only because, again, this makes no sense to me. Why weren't we told last year, no need to buy a trailer, take that $2 million, stretch that out and get more trailers? Okay. Now, my question I have for staff here is, that second trailer we have, is that trailer online? Is it producing water?
Currently, it is not.
Okay, so we have a trailer that we've been paying for that's not online. I've been told in the event of an emergency, we could flip it on. Makes no sense to me. We, County Line, made an effort to not use the Hayes Caldwell facility because we knew those coke membranes were in jeopardy. We went and sought other water. We did everything we could to help the utilities, to help us. And at this point, Canyon Regional has no plan. They're still using the coke membranes when they have a membrane there, membrane trailer that we purchased that's just sitting there. So this third trailer that we're going to acquire, what is it going to do? Is it going to sit there as well? This makes no sense to me. All I'm asking for is a plan. The challenge is I'm picking up 40% of this bill. 40%. I did not budget $192,000. To some of you, it may not seem a lot. It's not in comparison to the Alliance. This is a lot of money for us. I can't go asking for rate increases every time Canyon Regional wants to do this, Canyon Regional wants to do that because they say it's operation maintenance. For God's sakes, put it in a plan. Tell me what the path forward is. Let me understand what I'm going to be doing here, right? And it seems to me like I'm dismissed because I know a lot of stuff. I'm being dismissed because I'm being problematic. I'm being responsible for my ratepayers. I wish my ratepayers would see what I'm doing here and see that I'm trying to stop this bleeding effort. More importantly, this trailer is not going to give me more water. It's $192,000, and if it's a 5-year lease, it's almost $1 million that I'll be paying for. I can take that money and invest it somewhere else. So I'm very frustrated here. I'm very frustrated that the member entities feel, well, we can outvote you. We can go ahead and get this done. Fine. I'm telling you, my board president, some of the board members are very upset what's happening here at Canyon Regional. So that being said, take a vote. In the event that we have to pay for this trailer, I'm going to have a heartburn and I might not be able to pay for it. I'm letting you know that. But the premise of this trailer discussion wasn't whether we need to get a trailer or not. The premise of this trailer discussion was trying to address the budgets issue that we have. My question to staff was, in order to provide the budget, the correct number, what can we produce now, right? If we get a trailer again, it's not clear to me a third trailer will come online January 1st, February 1st, October of next year. It hasn't told me anything. So what am I doing here? I'm just throwing money at Canyon Regional trying to solve these problems without a plan forward. And that is very frustrating. Now, I will leave you with this. Why did San Marcos leave? Because there was no plan. That's why San Marcos left. And all I'm asking for is a plan. It makes sense. You're asking for a plan. I'm asking for a plan. How is it that I'm being dismissed because I'm with Hayes Caldwell? Because I'm small? I need a plan. I've got to substantiate what I'm spending here. And I can't substantiate another trailer after we just bought one. It should have been clear to me. And again, we bought one with the premise that the coke membranes were going to be somehow mitigated and the second trailer would come online. The second trailer is not online, so therefore the coke membranes are failing faster. Why haven't we gotten these membranes online? You're going to say TCQ's approval. We just submitted in April. When did we get this trailer? When did we know we were going to get this trailer? So all this time it's been sitting there. Very frustrated.
Was that the delay caused from staff, I believe, or something like that? Is that what's delaying the approval for this trailer? I think there was some internal issues or something like that.
Well, the first issue we had was that we were sold the trailer with the understanding that it was approved by the TCEQ, and it was not. That's been the biggest delay. There was a delay caused by staff that set us back about 3 months. I'd rather discuss that in executive session under another item. But yeah, there was some staff delay there. The final report got turned into the TCQ on April 17th, and they have 90 days to review. So we're looking to, by July, get that approval.
Can you speak a little bit to, we were sold the trailer under the understanding it was approved? Elaborate on that if you're able to in open session.
The manufacturer of the trailer had represented to us that it was approved to be put into use by the TCEQ. Once we got it on site, we were informed that not only was that not approved for use, but we had to go back and make modifications to the first trailer that we had leased, because it also wasn't in compliance. So staff has been working, to make the changes needed for that.
Now, the original trailer actually had the thumbs up from TCEQ
Originally, yeah.
originally, and then when they came back to look at the second one, that's when they said, oh, wait a minute, kind of changed our minds,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Is this that we were talking about, is it related to the block and bleed valves on the,
Yes, sir.
that should be a fairly easy fix. I mean,
Yeah, there was a lot of back and forth on arriving to that, but yeah, that's underway right now, and they're making those changes and getting it fixed.
In the event that we decline this third trailer, I think I heard words such as imminent failure. I don't want to be misquoting anyone if that's incorrect, but I heard something to that effect. If the Coke filters fail, what kind of a capacity is the plant, what's the delta of what the plant is rated for versus what we will actually be able to produce if the Coke filters, where the remaining permanent filters fail?
Mr. Telfer here. Adam, you want to speak to that?
So right now, the Coke filter that we have left that is working is capable of producing about 2 MGD. If that were to fail, then we'd be out that 2 MGD. The peaking rate is at 3.4 MGD out of that plant. So if all 4 entities were peaking, that would be the max flow out of the plant. So with the first Paul trailer, that one's a 96 module unit. It can produce up to about 1.6 max out the door after it was treated. The other 2 units, if we were to get a third unit, they're 80 module units. Those will produce 1 MGD out the door. So with the third unit, we would be able to meet the 3.4 MGD, which is the max. They produce a total of 3.6, so we just be able to meet that. The delta right now, and I don't have to write this number down, but right now with the Coke, it's 2 MGD and 1.6. So it is right at 3.6 right now with the one trailer and the Coke. The Coke goes, we have the 2 trailers will be producing 2.6 out of the plant.
But as of right now, the second trailer is not operational, so
It's not.
So we would lose more than 50% of the capacity out of that plant.
We would, yes.
What is the timeline for trailer 2 to be put online? And if we buy a third trailer, what is the timeline for that one to be online?
We anticipate getting approval from the TCEQ by July 17th. And we would be able to put the second trailer in operation right away. There's a third trailer that's available right now for lease. But we really don't want to bring it on site yet and start paying lease costs. we want to make preparations and be further along so that it's not just sitting there.
But that one will require TCEQ approval also, won't it?
Yes, sir.
So we're back in the saddle of at least 90 days to get that approved.
Possibly, hopefully not. That's if we approve, acquiring the third unit, we'll start that legwork and see. Hopefully, since we know what we're up against, we'll have better preparation going into it, and we can skip some of that review time. We'll just start looking at a timeline and try and time it so that the trailer's not sitting here unused. We're paying a rental cost on it.
So I'm not directly affected by it, but it sounds like the risk is pretty high that we're going to have a serious problem this summer.
Yes, yeah, the coke membranes. I mean, it's testament to the operators for keeping them going this long, but we just there's no guarantees on them.
I've got a question, Brandon. So
Yes, sir.
it was told to me that in the event that the coke membranes fell, which I understand, that you have authorization to use a second trailer. You have an emergency authorization. So do not let this decision predicated on the fact that if the coke membranes fell or not, because according to what staff is telling us, if they fell, they could use a second trailer based on some declaration. So again, don't know if that's true or not, but I was told that. So if the coke membranes fell, the presumption is you could do max, as Adam said, it was a 2.3. So you're basically replacing what the coke is doing with these two trailers.
3.4 is the max.
Okay, so, but nevertheless, if the fact that the coke membranes fell, you could flip on the switch for the second trailer.
And get 2.6, Adam?
Okay.
Yeah, the
And-
max would be 2.6 with the two trailers.
And so my question to you currently, what are you producing now? Because I know County Line's not taking. What are you producing now?
I don't know off the top of my head, but if you look inside the packet, it shows what the Hayes Caldwell plant is producing right now. The first page of the production report has, the peak day at the Hayes Caldwell plant.
Production peak day is 2.3 for May. And then obviously we have June, July, and August coming up, the hottest months. But it's been production peak day 2.06, 2.10, 2.11, 2.09, and 2.3 for this year.
Presumably County Line, again, will not be taking water. We didn't sign up for more water. We have another supply. So again, we're trying to make every effort to make these coke membranes last. If someone chooses to, I don't know, use more, I do not know. But again, our intent was, and our understanding was, we were going to try to use a second trailer to buy time. Unfortunately, second trailer's not online, so you're using the coke membranes. And again, all I'm asking for is a plan. Just tell me how this can be afforded, how we're going to pay for it. I'm assuming it's 5 years. And so now you have two trailers you got to lease for 5 years, possibly, maybe more. We bought one that we bought. Tell me how this is all going to work. And then there was a notion of putting it under a building or not. Tell me how this is going to work, for God's sake, so I can start figuring out how I'm going to afford this. Or if I need to start selling what I have, because this makes no sense to me. I understand there's dire straits, but until we figure out, until I get a plan, I can't say, go ahead and do it. I'm not going to give you $192,000. We had to pick up San Marcos's portion because San Marcos bailed last time, and there was no plan for that. And I picked it up. We got to stop doing that. We got to start doing plans. Do something that makes sense so we can all afford it and we understand.
I think it's a reasonable request to have a plan. I've heard it be requested before. How long would it take to create a, as complete as possible plan to move forward?
Well, if I'm understanding the request accurately, that's quite some time, several months, because we're going to engage an engineering firm to work with us on a master plan. We're just looking at meeting immediate needs with this.
And I get that. But it's a reasonable request to know,
Sure.
what's the overall direction. So I wouldn't think a whole master plan would be necessary to address this immediate request, because what we're potentially doing here tonight is a kind of an emergency, in my opinion, decision because there's risk of catastrophic or imminent failure, I think is the term. So if we're going to potentially take an action to address an imminent failure, maybe when we're looking at the master plan, we carve out this specific need that's maybe a little bit more critical than the overall. We need the whole master plan, but we also might need to pay a little closer attention to this one item, do that first, and then roll it into the master plan.
What's this amorphous plan? I guess that's what keeps rolling through my mind, right? What are the other options? What else can we do to make sure the member entities get their contracted capacity? What else? What other option is there? Is it just a full-blown retrofit of the plant, new building, $18 million, whatever the new number is for membranes? What's our other option than this trailer? Because I think that's the important thing. Like, plan's great. I agree 100%. All these facilities need plans, but what's our alternative? What's the alternative? What are we going to do different than a trailer?
Use.
Just reduce what the other entities take? County line reduces down, Maxwell reduces down?
And the plan may be as simple as order a exact unit, send away the rental unit, plug in the quote owned unit. It may be as simple as that because that may be the best thing moving forward. I think we've learned our lesson with proprietary filters, at multiple facilities. Maybe something as simple as a plug and play trailer might be our best, but I don't know. So I think it is reasonable to put together a bit of a plan and not have a emergency stopgap action that we need to take when there's risk of imminent failure. We've had a lot going on here, but this has been on our plate for quite a while. So
Yeah, ever since I remember my very first meeting at County Line as a board member 3-4 years ago, Umberto coming on behalf of CRWA and saying the coke membranes are going to fail. It's been that long that we've been working on this. And so now to be at this imminent danger, and now we're in an emergency state versus having a plan from the get-go that we could have followed. And that just seems to be what we do. We do everything just willy-nilly and not have something set in place that we can follow to get these things done efficiently, time management wise, financially, and there you go. Proactive preparedness. I like that. But I'm just saying, so on this particular issue, yes, if we do go with this third trailer, we do need something in writing, a plan to get things set up, TCEQ, whatever we have to do to get everything set up. And then when the coke membranes do fail, or we just say, okay, well, we have these 3 membrane trailers, that's sufficient. We can just get rid of the cokes and not even wait for them to fail. Let's just, but again, just having that plan of action, I think, is helpful. And then moving forward with any new project, or even the wells, ranch wells failing and everything like that, getting the plan for maintenance and such to make sure that we're keeping on top of these things so they don't fail. It just seems like every time we come to a meeting here, we're talking about a system failure of some sort. And I'd like to just have one meeting where we can say, okay, guess what? We're doing good. And I haven't had one like that. And so that's all I'm going to say on that.
So in August of 2023, we had the scope from Ardura to design the solution to this problem. and y'all paid Ardura, the Hayes Caldwell Group paid Ardura to do a bunch of work to design a new building, new membranes, get rid of the coat. And I think back then, a couple of years ago, we were being told that number was 18 million, and all of y'all kind of said, whoa, how are we going to afford $18 million? And so we didn't do it, and we're here. And now we're talking about going back to do the plan again, which we already have a rough idea of the cost of that plan.
Disagree with you, Mr. Chair, and I would hope you appreciate and would support what I'm trying to say here. And I guess, go back to Mr. Sherman's point, there's a possibility for us to take these trailers, the plan is to rent them, to lease them, whatever it is, for 5 years. We all understand. We're all going to change. Board's going to change. If there's a plan here that's codifying what the next moves are with the path forward, we all understand that. We can start looking how we're going to start doing that. So I would ask that you support our efforts here. I would hate to be in your shoes and someone just say, pay for this because there is no plan, because there was a plan that was done in 2023 and it's changed. In 2023, when we said, do not go build the facility, I was hoping something would stir and, okay, what's the plan? What's the next plan? But don't come to me and piecemeal me this, piecemeal me. That's not a plan. That's not a plan. I think if we put our heads together, get an engineer to say, okay, these coke membranes likely will fail. You need a third membrane. You will a trailer. You will have 5 years. You will pay for it. You all understand what the financial commitment is to Canyon Regional. That's one plan. That's a financial plan. The other one is operation. How do we make sure this thing operates? Kerry brought up an issue. Maybe we reduce. Are we going to hold Canyon Regional to the fire and say we're going to sue them? No, if we all understand this is the plan until we get to the point that we can use and pay for what we can pay for. Right now, we can't afford $18 million. We were never going to afford $18 million. So the plan changed. The plan changes. And again, I would hope you would support the efforts here that, we need a plan. We need something that says membranes, maybe we go ahead and get this third one, but for God's sake, tell me how long we're going to have this third one. Tell me what the next step is. Tell me how we're going to address the intake structure. Tell me that. Tell me all these things. Tell me all these things so I understand what it's going to cost me for this amount of water that I'm getting from Canyon Regional.
So this is y'all's risk. This is Hayes Caldwell risk. This isn't East Central risk, not Green Valley risk, not anyone else in this room's risk. If the Hayes Caldwell Group is comfortable accepting that risk and having this voted down, we have a motion and second here. By all means, this is y'all's risk. I'm going to go home and be.
Was there any guidance from Justin for Maxwell? Did he talk to y'all about the meeting that we had here with the Hayes Caldwell Group for?
Can you use your mics, please? I would like to hear from the other Hayes Caldwell members. We completely understand County Line's position, but we need to hear from the other Hayes Caldwell members on what you want to do here. Help us help y'all one way or another.
Well, okay, so this, I didn't attend the Board of Managers meeting, and I'm not qualified to be a manager at all. As a trustee sitting here, this sounds like a very expensive Band-Aid. I guess maybe possibly necessary, staunch the bleeding or something, but okay. So when it's all done, I do think that 18, who knows with today's cost, $20+ million for a new building, probably, engineering from the ground up. Can we park these 3 trailers side by side and build a pole barn over them and call it permanent? Take the wheels off and pour a slab and just keep the equipment running versus the 18-20 million or something for this building. It just seems very expensive to me, and I don't really understand why the second one's not online, which would maybe take remove the capacity from the Coke right now, the Coke filters. Being told we're good to go with the TCEQ versus a certificate, pedigree, that says, yes, it's been coordinated, we're all good. So, I get it, we don't want to run out of water, but it does seem like a very expensive Band-Aid. It's very expensive, and you know we're hitting our head on the ceiling as far as raising our rates in Martindale. So anyway, that's about all I got.
And I'll add, we actually have an email from Tri-Hydro in 2023 attesting that the Paul Mobile unit, the first one, was in compliance with TCEQ, and that we'd be able to move forward with executing that lease agreement. So.
Who was that by?
Tri-Hydro. That was Pat Lackey. So. February 2023.
Why is the second one not online?
We had to make some modifications to it for the TCEQ requirements, and right now we're waiting on their approval.
Well, Carrie, how long does it take to make modifications? I'm so tired of listening to this over and over and over, and we never get anywhere. We've been battling this thing for how long now? 3, 4 years, 5 years, longer? And we're not getting anywhere. And as the time goes by, it gets more and more expensive, which we have to put up the dollar for. I just don't understand why we can't get something done. It's kind of like the former board member that was here. All you do is kick the can down the road, and we can't get anything ever done. It's just very frustrating. And we need this water. We have to have this water for our customers. We don't have water for customers. Guess where we're going to come?
Y'all need to come up with something that y'all
Is your mic on? Thank you.
need to come up with something. How much water do y'all need? Carrie needs to know these things. And if that Coke goes out, what's y'all's plan? What are y'all going to do? You're going to turn on the second one, which they're waiting on TCEQ permitting. Like you said, it'd be done July 17th. I mean, these are things that you just asked the same question that Carrie answered earlier. Y'all need to figure out what y'all need to do. We'll vote however you want. I'm whatever y'all want. I am good with.
Yeah.
So please figure it out.
I don't feel like it's our job to do what they're supposed to be doing and the staff is supposed to be doing.
He did it. It was $18 million. Y'all said no.
It was actually done from the prior GM. So do we have any more discussion on this item? Is there anything else Hayes Caldwell Group wants to let us know?
Go ahead.
Is there any liability for someone telling us that they met TCEQ standards but that didn't? Where's the liability there? Somebody lied to us.
Say that, yeah, the manufacturer, you know, I don't know if I'd go so far as say they lied to us. Their explanation is that these trailers now is that the trailers are approved for emergency use, just not for a more, permanent installation like we're using them for.
Well, don't you have to have TCEQ approval for an emergency use?
Well, apparently they are approved for emergency use, just for temporary. But that was the representation that was given, to us. They are, Paul has been providing the support we need to get them into compliance.
Well, and I think the challenge here is we put the first trailer in with no issues. Then we go to put the second trailer in the same way. And all of a sudden TCEQ comes and says, no, you've got to do it a different way. And now you got to go back and do the first one a different way too, which is what slowed this process down. Is what it sounds like to me. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
You had something?
I was going to say, with regards, I appreciate everything the board said. With regards to what needs to be done, obviously, when does this trailer have to be, a decision needs to be made to lease it? Is it today? Is it July? Or what's the thought process?
I don't have a deadline for making that.
That would be nice if it was in a plan, but again, so if you can figure out maybe with some engineering, with something to say, we have to have a trailer by this point. And so then you would go back and figure out when the trailer's available. That's a plan. So I think at the end of the day, that's all we're looking for is, when does a decision have to be made? But more importantly, one thing that was not disclosed to me, and I will tell everyone this, at the Board of Managers, if you can tell me that we can use current funds this year to pay for next year's, maybe that's a plan. That's somewhat of a plan that kind of helps me financially. I don't have to pick this tab up next year. And tell me thereafter how much it's going to cost me and what else needs to be happening. So we can have two trains moving at the same time. Communication with the trader, see when we need to get it, start answering these questions, start modifying, or start coming up with some type of addendum to a plan. This is how it's going to move forward. And we all understand, with the understanding that that trailer is not going to sit there. That trailer would be active. I mean, so we're going to have to go back and say, we can acquire the trailer in July, but it's going to sit there for 3 months. I guess the decision point, we had to acquire it in July because there was no others going to be available. I need to know that, right? But if we're going to buy it with or lease it with understanding that I did not need to make a decision because TCQ is going to take 3 months and there's some available, then I didn't know that. I didn't know all this stuff. So I can make an informed decision. So when my board asked me why Humberto is $192,000, I can explain it. And so that's all I'm asking is, come up with something that tells me this is a path forward. Not just, I need this, but it's going to sit there. TCQ may or may not approve it. I mean, that doesn't help me, especially when I'm not taking the water.
Kerry, how much is left in the unspent funds on the repair? The leftover funds from previous that the board approved to make repairs to each of the facilities. Do you have that?
Is that the 384,000 that's in the staff communication?
Yeah. For Hayes Caldwell, for the 2025 remaining funds, just under $384,000. Excuse me. There will be also some surplus funds from 2026. I can't tell you that number right now. I can tell you the Reedville pipeline, we came in well under the budget. We can get a projected number for what might be left from 2026 also.
It's a good idea to use some of those unspent funds. Is that something that the Hayes Caldwell group would be willing to spend those unspent funds on, is maybe reallocating from whatever the list of projects were, maybe this is more important. Maybe that's a good idea.
I'd say yes.
I'd agree to that.
Yes, sir.
I was gonna say the intake obviously is, I know we put some money towards that and that's got to be done.
Yeah.
I want to read something that Mabel and I were talking to our general manager about this, and he said, this should be treated as an internal operational decision for CRWA staff to execute while presenting funding solutions to the board to minimize the cost impact on participating members. Furthermore, CRWA must present a long-term solution for the permanent replacement of the current filters. Bringing this trailer online brings them time that they need to do that and give us breathing room to make the best long-term decisions for the facility.
And that plays into Umberto's, we need a plan.
Yeah.
And if that means we need to bring the Hayes Caldwell group together in a workshop,
We're for it.
we're for that.
Yeah, I think y'all did that a couple weeks ago. So any other discussion on this item? Because we have a lot of back and forth, I'll call a roll vote on this item so that we can get it recorded. If you don't mind, when you turn your microphone on, if you'll say, just one second, let me finish my spill so I don't forget it. If you don't mind, say your name before you vote. It helps staff be able to record the vote in the minutes. Yes, sir.
So what does Hayes Caldwell want on this? I've got kind of conflicting. You just said that your general manager wants this third trailer? I'm being serious here. Yep.
So Brandon, can I ask for an amendment to the motion with the fact that we figure out financially if it is possible for us to use monies from this year, last year, whatever it is, to absorb the cost for whatever number of years? Then we may be inclined to vote for something. But right now it's just to go lease the trailer. There's no option how we're going to pay for it. So if there's an amendment to the motion to say we will look at and possibly use whatever funds are available to pay for 1, 2 years, whatever that number of years may be, I'll be willing to vote on that.
1 second. So the cost of this trailer a year, is it 480,000?
Roughly $35K a month.
Yeah, maybe do that math real quick.
It's in the packet.
120,000.
I'm looking over Sherry's.
That's for 2 years.
So right now, with 384,000 remaining, you're about 36,000 short of what you need for 12 months. Will you grab your microphone? I see.
And as Carrie was saying, hopefully we have that 36 and overage from this year. You think?
Well, he's talking about the same money. There's like 384,000 right now.
Yeah, so you're 36,000 short with the money you have right now, and then your other money would either come from what I spoke about at the beginning, legal fees. If I remember correctly, we budgeted $500,000 for legal fees. I don't think we've probably spent 500,000 on Hayes Caldwell legal fees. So I think you've got some ability. I'd be careful to just say that directly and let you leave this room thinking it's all paid for the next 12 months, because I'm not going to do that napkin math. But right now, by what staff's told us, you're 36,000 short. So Umberto's asked for an amended motion. It's up to you to accept that amended motion or not.
I accept that
Okay.
amendment to the motion to
Like
seek
to have in the motion, we get this done as soon as possible.
Okay.
for staff to see what funds can be applied from fiscal year 2025 and then look towards closing that gap on fiscal year 2026 whenever we get to that point.
So restate your new amended motion one more
That you're
time.
asking a lot right now.
I know, but I
You're
want to make
asking a
sure
lot.
this entire board understands what we're doing.
So
because-
I make the motion to approve the resolution with staff coming up with a plan for the funding that remains left over, the $383,000 to put towards the rental of this third trailer.
I know, I'm just making sure you're good with the language you just used. Are you okay with that? Will you second the amendment to that motion? Do we need to vote on the amendment to that motion?
Yes.
Okay, so all we're doing right now is voting on the amendment to the motion. Okay, we are not voting on the motion. Okay?
If the amendment passes, then you will be voting on the amended.
Yes, if the amendment passes, then we'll vote on the amendment. So I'm not roll calling the amendment vote. All those in favor of the amendment? Thank you. Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Now, we're ready to vote on the actual
Amended.
resolution itself, the amended resolution. I will do this by roll call. If you don't mind, turn your mics on, use your name, yes or no. I'm going to start this direction.
Andrea, yes.
Michael, yes.
Sherman, yes.
Sherry, yes.
Roberts, yes.
Dan, yes. James, yes.
Vaughn, yes. Stebbing, yes.
Davis, yes.
Phil, yes.
Gilbert, yes.
So we have a yes from Stephanie, a yes from Tracy. We have a yes from Mr. Ramos.
Ted, yes.
Fernando, yes.
Stefan, yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Sorry for the lengthy discussion, but it's important. Okay.
Brandon, can I say, and then I don't necessarily need to know the answer right now, but I don't know, I just had this thought, and maybe staff knows, are those Paul trailers as they exist, are they able to be ran on the generator that's there for backup generation? If we don't have that answer, I think that's something that needs to be addressed, because what's the point of having a generator if it's all it's going to run is Coke filters that aren't working?
Good suggestion. Do you know the answer to that right off? He doesn't know the answer. Okay, moving on.
Can we put that on the plan, please?
Item 9B, yeah. Here. We need a plan. Thank you. Item 9B, discuss, consider, and take possible action on resolution 260604, ratifying the general manager's approval of change orders 3, 4, 5, and 6 associated with the Lake Dunlap Water Treatment Plant strainer project. This is a ratification. The general manager has authority from the board to execute change orders under a certain threshold. The construction committee likewise has that same authority as well. They have a higher threshold than the general manager does. And then obviously the executive committee has a threshold for emergencies. These change orders fell within the threshold of the general manager. He did sign them. He's asking for us to ratify the decision to sign those change orders. Mr. Sherman.
So I'll state that the construction committee did review these in our last meeting, and we did recommend approval of change orders, ratifying change orders 3, 4, 5, and 6 for the Lake Dunlap Strainer project.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion and second. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Y'all are nice and loud today. I like it. Item 9C, discuss, consider, and take possible action on resolution 260605, ratifying the general manager's approval of change orders 3 and 4 associated with the Hayes Cobble Phase 1 project. Similarly, this is a ratification, just like the last item. Mr. Sherman.
So the construction committee did review these two change orders. We did not make a recommendation for approval. We had some questions. Both of them involve removing scope from the Phase 1 project that we are struggling with that contractor closing out. One of them was a gravel driveway. One of them was lightning protection. Some of the questions and the discussion around the construction committee involved, hey, if we're going to substantial this Phase 1 project and we need lightning protection, one, what risk do we bear by not having the contractor in Phase 1 do the work, accepting the project, and then potentially being at risk of a lightning strike and damaging the project? And two, we received a deductive change on the lightning protection, $23,000 and change. The question was, what does it cost to add it to the second project? How long does that work take to get completed? And we didn't have answers for that in the construction committee meeting, and we asked staff to bring more information.
What's the lightning protection for?
Lightning protection, and staff jump in. Anybody that knows better than me, jump in.
What's the phase? No, what part of this phase? What are we building? What are we protecting?
So Phase 1 was a ground storage tank.
So we need to protect a ground storage tank?
It's tied to the control systems, and it's tied to, there are sensors, that level indicators, that sort of thing. I assume there are actuated valves that open and close when the tank needs to fill or drain. There's some electrical components.
I would get some other advice, because it sure seems like a big concrete structure would be grounded. I'm not an electrician. I'm just saying it's on the ground. It's
the electrical engineers called for it in the specifications.
They like to call for a lot of things that cost money.
Yeah, I think that was important, Nick, to know whether it was necessary or not. I took a glance at the plans just because I'm a glutton for punishment.
I got them today.
And so there's a ladder that runs up the ground storage tank, and it's bonded to the grounding rod that goes all the way around the tank. I mean, we've got a concrete tank under design that we're not putting lightning protection on, but that doesn't mean that Canyon Regional and its engineers shouldn't. Did you get any more information on whether you actually are going to need this in Phase 2 or not?
The engineer will not say it's required. They're just saying that it's recommended. I've built several concrete ground storage tanks. We've never put lightning protection on them. I mean, there's bonding, there's grounding, infrastructure. In my opinion, no, it's not necessary. But, once you've got sealed plans from an engineer, you run a risk if you go against their recommendation.
And this was one of the items that was on the punch list for Phase 1 as a yet to complete task.
Yeah, they put it on the punch list. So there was nothing in the plans for this, nor anything in the bid tab whenever this was bid out. There is a spec on it, which the engineer now has deemed a performance spec, and that's, they're resting their laurels, and that's why it wasn't in the plans. We felt like, at first they were simply pushing back saying, hey, it wasn't in the plans. And so, Mr. Rodriguez, got them to give us the credit, the $23,000 credit. I view that as free money. I can tell you, if this went to court, we'd lose. If this was a multi-million-dollar item and we decided to press this and take it to court, we're going to lose. And I know of, all the rules of the specs govern over the plans and all that, but I've been through stuff like this in real life, and I'm telling you, That's why I made the decision to accept the credit. The consultant said they felt like it was a good, cost for the credit. And that's why I moved forward and executed the change order.
So the change order is executed. We were essentially stuck with ratifying it. We've given the general manager the authority already to sign it. I think this just goes back to the construction committee. If there needs to be a change order in phase 2, staff take it back through the construction committee with the change order for phase 2. If not, most of us will forget about it.
Did we get the information we requested for tonight in the construction committee for a cost to have it added?
We don't have a cost yet.
Have we asked them for a cost yet?
Yes, sir.
There were 2 change orders. We've spoken at length about lightning rod. What about road? Did the construction committee have an issue with the road?
It was a similar issue where something was deleted from phase 1 that was on the punch list, and it's intended to be added into phase 2. Same questions, what does it cost? We have a cost in phase 1. What does it cost to move it to a different project?
And that's the one that caught my attention too. And that was my concern when I saw the change orders is, okay, now we're taking something out of phase 1 without having an offset price in phase 2 and having those prices to consider right away. So that, the contractor stays honest and keeps them the same. So that one I feel confident is coming back with a change order. That we know for sure. We need the road. As a reminder, this
phase 2.
This project was never supposed to be phased. It was always supposed to be one big project. So I think we're seeing a little bit of those challenges with phasing it out 1, 2, and 3. I'll get on my soapbox about phasing if y'all want to be here another hour, but the project should have never been phased.
Was that lightning protection, was that a line item in the bid? But it was in the spec.
It was in the spec, yes, sir.
Okay, who, would that be under the GC to read the specs and perform though?
I think that's what staff argued. And then the contractor negotiated a price to give us a deductive change order to give y'all that money back.
Okay.
The question is it coming back in phase 2 or not? So again, what we have in front of us is ratifying a decision that was already made. I don't think we can change that decision. We've given the general manager authority. There is going to be a change order coming in phase 2 for the gravel for sure. Potentially for the lightning needs to go through the construction committee.
I will say the lightning protection was a little different explanation tonight from staff than what we got in the construction committee meeting. I don't quite understand why it wasn't explained the same way. And a little frustrating that we didn't get the information that we asked for, for our packet tonight, that we asked for a cost. The engineers in the committee told us, yes, we have a design for it. We know what to send off for pricing, and we just didn't get the pricing that we asked for. So,
well, there's not a design for it, just that spec. And I mean, we requested that cost from the contractor as soon as it was requested from us. They just haven't gotten the pricing yet.
And in the committee meeting, the engineer sat here and told us we do have a design for it because we asked that question. So I don't know how.
Well, she misspoke. There is no design for it.
Is there a generic design? Is that what you may have been mentioning? I wasn't at the construction committee, so.
I requested design plans from the engineer and they said that there are none, that it's a performance spec.
Okay, so I will entertain a motion for item 9C, resolution 260605.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion on the item?
Mr. Chairman, do you have reservations of what we're doing here? I mean, I want to hear, because you're.
So we reviewed the procurement policy. All deductive change orders fall within the general manager's approval. I think if some of the discussion in the committee meeting was, hey, it's on their punch list. It's going to take them 8 weeks to get it done. We don't want them on the site anymore. We just took it out and we're going to give it to the other contractor. The concern of what risk do we bear a lightning strike, that's a concern to me. But also, we shouldn't deduct work out of one project and add it into another project at a higher cost.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest hangup is in the committee meeting, we didn't know what the the adder cost is. And even today, we still don't know what the adder cost is. We were pretty clear about, hey, we want to know in tonight's meeting before we all vote what the adder cost is. The engineer told me I have a design for it. And, now upon further review, they don't have a design for it. That's frustration. If it's 1 penny more than what we can have the phase one contractor do the work for, I think we should have the phase one contractor do the work. If it's going to cost CRWA more money in the long run, that's not in the best interest of CRWA. Even if we're talking generally small dollars across the grand scheme of things, we shouldn't, in my opinion, deduct out of one project, add it to another project simply because it's difficult to get the contractor to perform. They're well past their contracted schedule. I think everybody in the room that's heard me talk about delays in projects before understands where I stand on that. If it's theirs to do the work, that's why they bid it as a GC. It's their responsibility to review the specifications and know what's included in their project.
And I agree with everything you just said, Nick. And if this was the Board of Trustees approving a change order that hasn't been signed and executed yet, we'd be like, no way, we have to have this information. So now I'm going to point, unless you have a quick question, to legal counsel.
I just want to follow up. I appreciate what Nick is saying because he is the chair of the committee, correct?
Yes.
And so I don't want to dismiss anything you bring in. When you bring bad, you don't want to say, okay, you make a recommendation, forget it, we're going to do it this way. I need to hear your position, and I do hear that it's a ratification. So it's kind of like, but I will echo, when we are presented information from staff level, we need to be presented the correct information then and there to make a decision. And if the expectation is the consultant to provide the information, we're paying you. You need to provide that information. So I will echo what you say, and I support you. I just don't know based on this ratification. But again, appreciate everything you're doing.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Nick. I'm going to ask Ruben real quick before we vote. So Ruben, what we have in front of us is a policy that allows the general manager to execute change orders under a certain threshold, right? This is deductive. He's already signed and executed that change order. The board is now ratifying that decision. Can the board not ratify that decision? Can that change order be rescinded? How would we handle that? If Nick's concerns are, I'd rather see more information before this gets done. Will you use your mic? I'm sorry.
It's within Kerry's authority. It's within Kerry's authority. That's the answer. So no, I don't think there's any flexibility here. I think this is simply a simple ratification because it's within his authority. Unless he did something wrong, unless he did something that he thinks was within his authority, but it was not. I mean, it wasn't in the course and scope of his authority. Then perhaps you have some flexibility. But if what he did was within the course and scope of his authority, there is no flexibility.
And my question to you is, if this group, including Cherry, all says, hey, I'd like to kind of get out from this and get some more information first, do we have an out from this executed change order?
I would have to look at the documents and look at the authority and all that. I would have to look at more to be able to arrive at an opinion like that.
Well, let me interject here. The cost to get the answer to that question is a heck of a lot more than $23,000.
Okay. I was just saying,
that.
I was like, that's
I
going to
appreciate
cost more money than anything.
Thank you. I
Okay,
appreciate that.
comfortable. Get the change order price, especially for the gravel road, as soon as possible so that we can maybe hold the contractor to that original price. Remember, this is the same contractor, it's just a different GC. So DN Tanks was a GC on phase one, but Keeley was the subcontractor. Keeley is the GC on phase two. That's why there's kind of this weird little bit of back and forth on the phase one and phase two. Get that price as soon as you can so we can try and lock them down to the same price as phase one. I agree with you 100%, Nick. Whenever you move stuff, it shouldn't be a penny more, it should be less. Okay, everybody feel comfortable with the conversation? Is there any more discussion on this item? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, ayes have it. Thank you. Okay, item 10, executive session. The Board of Trustees may meet in executive session to discuss following items pursuant to Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, including where appropriate, Sections 551, 071, 072, 074, 076, 086, 089, and 418, 183F of the Texas Government Code. All formal action will occur in open session. The board will receive the advice and discuss with its attorneys mediation and possible terms of settlement concerning cause number 240377 CVE CRWA versus Trihydro Corporation and David Maxwell PE, pending in the 456th District Court of Guadalupe County, Texas. We'll also be meeting to discuss deliberation pursuant to section 551074 of the Texas Government Code regarding the appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment duties, discipline, or dismissal of CRWA staff. With that, I will close the meeting at 7:30 and give you 7 minutes to get back in here. 7:37. Now, 8:15, we'll return to regular session. Item 11, return to open session. Board of Trustees may consider, deliberate, and act on the items discussed in executive session, if any. There is no action to be taken out of executive session. Item 12, future board member agenda items. Our next meeting is July 13th. Item 13, I need a motion to adjourn, please. Okay, we are adjourned.